Sanders, for many people, still is on the fringe.
Yeah.
And
I think he gets misrepresented, though.
yeah, for sure.
One of the things that was tremendously beneficial for me is to sit down with him for hours and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, you're a real person. Yeah. You're not this wacky guy yelling about billionaires. When you get these 90-second sound bites in these debates, you don't get a chance to know who someone is.
Yeah, so I used to listen to this. I listen to a lot of radio on the left and the right to try to get take in what people are thinking about. I used to listen to this program. I think it's called the Tom Hartman program. He's like a major lefty, but he had this segment called Brunch with Bernie. And he would invite Bernie Sanders like every Friday or something like that. And just sort of the intellectual honesty and curiosity that Bernie exhibited was just fascinating. Sort of like, as opposed to being a political thing that just repeats the same message over and over, which actually what it kind of sounds like when you listen to him now publicly. Mm-hmm. He's actually a thinking individual and somebody who's open to changing his mind, but within that has just completely been consistent.
What people are terrified of is that he's going to raise taxes on successful people and ruin business.
Yeah.
That's what people are worried about, that in doing that, it will crash the economy.
Yes.
I don't know if they're right.
I don't even know if they're... So first of all, the people are using the word socialist. So they're saying, he's a socialist. Do you really want socialism? America is a great country because we're a capitalist kind of thing. From my perspective, I think we already have a huge number of socialists.
Well, he's a democratic socialist.
Democratic socialist.
It's a different perspective. He just values workers. The idea is he wants people to earn a living wage. He wants people to not be indebted with a tremendous amount of student loan debt when you're just 21 years old and getting out of college. He thinks it's insane, and I agree with him. He doesn't want people to be burdened in this insane way if you ever get sick, and I agree with him.
He wants to improve the healthcare system. Yeah,
I think as a community, if we're looking at the United States as a community, one of the things that, look, it's great to support business. It's great to have a strong economy. It's great to give business the confidence to take chances, and a lot of people think Donald Trump does that. It's also great to take care of our own, and I don't think we do that enough. I don't think we take care of our own enough in terms of we have the same problems in the same inner cities that we've had for decade after decade after decade, and there's no significant attempt to change that. But meanwhile, we do these nation-building projects in other countries, and we have the interventionist foreign policy where we go in and invade these countries and try to prop up new governments and try to support them, and we spend insane amounts of money doing that. And along the while, we don't do anything to our inner cities that are the exact same fucked up places that they were in the 70s and in the 60s. Do you know who Michael Wood Jr. is?
No.
He was on the podcast a couple of times, and he used to be a police officer in Baltimore.
Yes, I know him. Okay, so I listened to that podcast. I'm just horrible with names. Okay.
His experience was, first of all, just... he found a piece of paper that showed like a crime docket from the 1970s, all the stuff like drugs, crime, robbery. It was all the same issues in the same neighborhoods that he was patrolling in today. And he was like, holy shit. And he realized like, oh, this is a quagmire. And then he found out about the laws that were in place from way back in the day where you literally... if you were an African American, you couldn't buy a home in certain areas.
Right.
They had, what is that term? Is it redlined? Is that what the term is? Where they designate certain areas where they literally won't sell homes to black people. And he was becoming aware of this shit as he was a cop. And, in the beginning, he was all gung-ho. He was like, I'm a cop. I'm here to bust bad guys and do the right thing. And then along the way, he kind of recognized you're dealing with systemic racism. You're right. Yeah. Redlining? Redline. Yeah. So, that hasn't been addressed.
It's all about, there's a million other things at home, education, everything.
And all those things. I think Bernie Sanders, when he talks about those things, he seems like a guy who really cares about education, healthcare, and people that live in poverty.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything. I don't know.
Well, that's the main thing is like people say democratic socialist and so on is going to, he's going to make a slight move into the whatever direction he's trying to advocate, which in this case is more investment into the infrastructure and so on into our at home. But like, you know, he's just one human being. There has to be a Congress that represents the people. And if there's anything, I think Congress is probably the most hated entity in all of the universe. Like you look at all the polls of what people like and hate. Like rats are above in terms of favorability ratings. So Congress is really the broken system. Bernie won't be able to do much except take a little sort of the role of the president, as I see it, is the terrifying one is to start wars. And so it's a very serious responsibility you have to take. And the second is to inspire the population. In terms of executive power of enacting laws, there's not much power. All you can do is what our current president is doing, sort of inspiring in that case the Republicans in Congress to sort of work together to work on certain legislation. So you can inspire the Congress and you can inspire the people, but you don't have actual direct power. So Bernie's not going to turn America into a socialist, haven. He's going to take a small step into maybe he'd probably focusing on one aspect like healthcare or something like that.